Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Altcoin Mentors YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a special video on what I think are two big crypto myths. So hopefully by the end of this video, I'm not really here to change your mind if you actually believe these myths. What I'm trying to do is to present to you my opinions and some facts about why I believe them to be myths. So for more advice on trading and investing in crypto, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. Our main goal at Altcoin Mentors is to help as many people as we can achieve financial freedom through trading cryptos. So the two topics I'm going to be talking about today are things that I know something about because of my background. I used to work for a large investment bank. And in my past, I was also a chief financial officer for a small startup. So I understand taxes and accounting and basically, the whole financial picture. So let's talk about number one. Myth number one, institutional investors are waiting to invest. So this is technically true. The key word is waiting, and they might wait forever. So one of the reasons why is that if you Google like institutional investors and cryptos or Bitcoin, a lot of times you see bloggers, people who have to self-perpetuate these ideas that institutional investors are going to pump large sums of money into the marketplace, and that's why they see Bitcoin and other altcoins go to huge astronomical figures. But there are a lot of barriers. So Goldman Sachs did a take on what they feel is their biggest barrier. So the key factor really is that there is no large cryptocurrency exchange where orders can get filled. So because the idea is that if you're a smaller hedge fund, and let's say that you run a fund that has about $300 to $400 million, and you want to invest in cryptos as a general basket, you might want to put 4 to 5% of your fund. So that means that 5%, you want to put in about $10 million. And then so you might pick 3 or 4 coins that you think have some potential. And then you're going to allocate the money into the coins based on whatever formula or algo that you have. I would use a weighted price index personally to have an even basket of stuff. So one of them would be Bitcoin. And so if you think about that, if an institution wanted to invest, $1 to $3 million on Bitcoin, would it be possible for them to get filled, right away at a certain price without a huge spread? So what happens now is that all these exchanges, they're everywhere. So you have, Bitfinex, Binance. I don't really consider Binance a true exchange because most of the institutions, they don't want to do tether, right? They're not going to do coin to coin. What they want to do is they want to trade it like a currency pair. So they want to do things like Bitcoin to USD. So then now you have to look at companies like Bitfinex, GDAX, and some of the other ones. And there aren't that many large ones. So if you look at the exchanges and the marketplace right now with volume, you see that most of the volume is overseas, right? It's in Japan and in China, and a lot of them have to do with Tether and have other coins. So because there is no main exchange, institutions are a little bit afraid. So this is what Google looks like when you Google institutional investors and Bitcoin. So one of the things that stands out for me really is that who's writing this news. So you look at it, and all of the people who are writing it on a positive spin are people who write about Bitcoin only. There's not that many finance, mainstream finance news magazines or websites. So the only one that has it is Bloomberg, and they say that right now there's no role yet for institutional investors, in Bitcoin. So let's talk about the first one, because that just came out. And they talk about demand from institutional investors drives up Bitcoin futures trading. So that seems like, wow, that seems amazing. because they say that the CME group says there's tremendous interest from Asian investors, and that's a key word, tremendous. But I trade on CME. I trade Globex futures, ES, which is the E-mini S&P 500, NQ, which is NASDAQ, and some of the Euro futures. And I don't see tremendous interest. What I see is nothing. There's no interest. So let me talk to you about that. So because the idea is that there are already instruments for institutions to invest in Bitcoin, but currently there is no volume. So let me show you the data. So this is the CFD Futures Price and Volume detail for yesterday. This is for the CBOE. So you can look at it. So look at the one right here where it says CBOE Bitcoin Futures. So if you look at it, you'll see that the volume is 2,500 contracts, right? An open interest of 6,600. Compare that to the VIX, which is a very low volume futures contract with 250,000. So you're talking about 1% of a futures contract that doesn't have as much volume, right? So that in itself tells you that there's not a lot of major players in this, because they would be the one that would keep coming in. So let's talk about CME as a whole. So you look at the CME and you look at it here, it's even worse. You're talking about 1,800 contracts and the open interest of 1,486. And the reason why I bring up open interest is I'm going to show you something in a little bit that sometimes some people don't know about, but it can give you a good idea of where institutions and asset managers, where their positions lie. So it's really called the commitment of traders. So every Friday, the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, they bring out a report to show which positions certain classes of investors, what are they trading? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? So let's look at Bitcoin here. So for Bitcoin, for the CBOE Futures Exchange, right? The open interest is 6,100, and as of last Tuesday, so this is not yesterday, 2 days ago, but last week Tuesday, there were only 379 contracts of Bitcoin. And then you look at this on the bottom here, the total number of traders, right, for leveraged funds. So this is the key. So these are asset managers, institutions, and these are leveraged funds. So the leveraged funds are smaller funds. They could be a mom and pop fund, a small little day trader that has converted his account into a corporation, etc. But the key is dealer, intermediary, asset managers, and leverage funds. So the leverage funds, the ones who are using a lot of margins, stuff like that, who are smaller time players, they're the ones who are trading. But look at the number of people, the total number of leverage funds are doing this. So 7 total are long and 16 are short. So this is the total number of traders. So it's really hard, right? So you have numbers of 56 as a whole, as a total. So there aren't that many institutions or even smaller institutions trading in Bitcoin where they have an opportunity on a centralized exchange like the CBOE or the CME. So that's my take on institutional investors. Until that, I agree with Goldman, until there is a central exchange or some major exchanges like a NASDAQ or a New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, even like some smaller guy, or some clearing houses like ARCA, BATS, until there is more of that type of regulated type of exchanges, you won't see institutions come into the marketplace anytime soon. So let's talk about number 2. That the tax season has a big impact on Bitcoin and cryptos in general. And so I told you before that I used to be a CFO of a small startup company. And so I did, most of their taxes. I did the finance stuff. I didn't do their taxes. We had an accountant. We had a tax team that did it. But, I know the rules and the regulations. I studied up on it. And so, when I hear this and how it has a big impact on BTC, because right now they think that, Bitcoin over the last couple months have been going down because people are selling their coins to pay for taxes, that to me doesn't make a lot of sense. And here are the reasons why. So number 1, that the majority of the volume is actually overseas. So if you look at this for the last month on Crypto Compare, you'll see that almost 60% of the volume for Bitcoin is traded in yen, right? Which means that the exchanges are all in Japan. Then you look at number 2, which is a USD, which is at 19%, and then USD Tether, and then Korea, and everything else is very, very small. So even if you look at this, you look at volume for USD for Bitcoin, the number 1 player is Bitfinex. They have a 42% share. But that's where the problem comes in. Bitfinex is not a U.S. exchange, right? They're based in Asia. I don't know how much the IRS is looking into the accounts of U.S. holders in Bitfinex. I don't know if they can get the data from them, if they have any agreement whatsoever. So far as I know, as of today, they don't. The majority of trading is done in other currencies besides the yen, so which means that they're not American. And then number 2, the largest exchange that trades in USD is not even based in America. So you look at GDAX, Gemini, Poloniex, those are the ones that are based in America. And then so those numbers are smaller. So these people are not selling. The amount of money, that amount of coins that people are selling are relatively small compared to the whole universe. So the other 2 things at B, once refunds are paid, people will buy more coins. So I hear this over and over again on Twitter and some of the other blogs, and I couldn't disagree with this, just like the other ones. Because the point is that most people have already received their money. So these are the statistics right from the IRS website. This was as of the end of last month. There's 94 million returns that were received, 91 million that were processed. There's usually a total between about 115 to 120 million returns in a year, because these are households. So, there's 400 million people in America. A lot of them don't work. A lot of them are elderly and their kids. So you really only have about 115 to 120 million. So as you can see, the majority of people have already filed their income tax returns. And as you can see down below, you can see that 73 million refunds were given out, $212 billion in total. The average refund was about $2,900. So when the majority of people who actually filed their taxes and have received their refunds, what's happened to the price of Bitcoin in the last 2 months? So those are the biggest issues. So really, the issues that we should really look at is, has the price of Bitcoin gone down since the Japanese have to file taxes? So their tax season is between February 15 and March 15. So when you look at that, you can see those people over there having a bigger impact on the price of Bitcoin if they had to sell their coins to try to pay their taxes. So here's the conclusion, is that in my opinion, most news on these subjects are fake news or self-propagation. So I don't know if they're fake, but I really feel that they just kind of like, when they mention sources, every time I hear blogs, they say, oh, sources tell us, multiple sources tell us that this is this. But then the question is, they never tell you who those sources are. They never say, oh, we read this on Bloomberg, we read this on MarketWatch, we saw this from this institution, we talked to this institution. They're sources. So their sources are basically, in my opinion, from Google. So they Google stuff, they look at it, they say, oh, this guy said this, and they can say, oh, these are multiple sources, right? So the key idea is that if you're a hodler and you bought this and you're holding, don't try to justify why you're holding it. You hold it because you believe, and that's all that matters. But if you are an investor, right, you can understand that you don't have to short, but you can take profits and buy back at a lower price. And that's what a lot of people do. Like for me, when I trade ETFs for my retirement accounts, I don't go short the ETFs because that's just too much of a hassle. But what I do though is that if I think that the uptrend is a little bit winded, like currently I'm not in any ETFs right now. I sold it a while ago because in my opinion, I thought I could buy it back at a lower price. And so far that has proven to be true, because the idea is that if I get rid of SPY or Bitcoin at a higher price, no matter where I buy it, as long as I buy it for a lower price, I am a little bit more profitable in the future. So that's my advice I give to people. So when you're making decisions on what to do with your long-term holdings for Bitcoin, I just want to make sure that you don't listen to other people's views or opinions when they may not be based on facts. Do your own research, believe in your gut, right? And make sure that you're doing things for the right reasons. So, upcoming videos that we're going to be doing here on Altcoin Mentors. We're going to be doing I'm going to be doing a special video on hodling versus investing. I'm going to start a new how-to series, like how to open an account, how to start with this much money, how to look at charts, the basics of financial analysis, technical analysis, and I'm going to start a $2,000 5x challenge. So I'm going to fund a separate account with $2,000, and I'm going to try to see how long it takes for me to multiply it by terms of 5x. I'm not going for 20x, 50x, 100x, because even though I've been trading for over 20 years, even at $2,000, I don't want to push the envelope as far as I can that makes people uncomfortable, because they wouldn't do it. What I mean by that is that if I wanted to make 50x, 100x, I would go on BitMEX and I would do leverage, 20, 50, 100 times, and see how much money you can make. But that's not really a fair way to do that, because most people would never trade like that. And I want to make sure that the advice I give, the opinions that I give, are for real people, so that they can make money in a medium pace, right? You don't have to go slow and you don't have to go super fast. The middle path can be a good place. So I thought that 5x would be a reasonable amount of money. I'll let you know when I start the challenge, when I'll try to have a date in mind, which I think I can make that amount. But I want to let you know that I'm going to be going long and short. I'm going to be doing a lot of day trading and some swings. That's the only way I think I can make 5x on the coins right now, because the idea is that altcoins and Bitcoin, they're not going in a parabolic way. The bell curve is over. So now it's kind of going down. It's going in stages. So we have to be able to understand that that's the market that we're in now. So we want to be able to trade in that market. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please write them down below. We do a very good job here at Altcoin answering people's questions right away. Please follow us on Twitter and on Telegram. You can look at our model portfolio where we put in all of our positions and our swing trades. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.